Is anyone else hot? It's like hot. Taking off all my clothes. Hi, people. Yes, hi. It's the world is burning. How can we dance when the world is burning? How can we sleep while our beds are burning? No, the other way around, I think. You know, it was like, good gracious, asses bodacious, flirtatious, trying to show faces, looking for the right time. Anyway, hi, how we doing? Everyone warm? I appreciate the currently 88 viewers, 91 viewers that have come along to my stream, considering that Chapter Master Valric is live over on the tubes on the other stuff, and he's got like 400 plus viewers. He's a great guy, Chapter Master Valric, and I appreciate everyone who's chosen to come here. I met him at the Legends event. I won this trophy at this No Retreat Legends event. I don't mention it very much. Valric won a trophy as well at the No Retreat Legends event. He got this wooden spoon thing. I don't know what it was for, because he said he beat everyone. So I guess it was for beating everyone. But I don't think everyone went 5-0 at that tournament, because I know the last person who was potentially going to go 5-0 met me. I didn't go 5-0 either. Yeah, you know, Adrian or Bridger from Tabletop Titans, Tabletop Tactics was there as well. Lawrence beat him. Adrian or Bridger from Tabletop Titans was there, and he was gonna go 5-0 with the pre-nerfed orc buggy list, and then I beat him too. But I had help from Bridger or Adrian. The other one is telling me, no, don't do that, do this beforehand. It's like he wanted to see his friend fall. Anyway, thank you for the 100 people who are here. Thank you to all my channel members. Thank you to all the subscribers. How are we getting on out in the world? I don't have much to talk about today. We'll talk about some things, but let's let the galaxy burn. Yeah. How are we doing? What are your top tips for staying cool? There's only so long you can sit in the car with the air conditioning running. This is the thing that's going to amaze lots of people in America and other warmer parts of the world. Like, air conditioning in the UK is not something that we really have, except in cars. And yeah, I've got a little air conditioning unit that I use when I'm filming, that I wheel it, you know, like a £100 thing that you can, and you put and then it blasts it, and then you put that on in between the filming bits so it stays warm. So cool. Yes. So nice G&T today. Thanks for joining. Please consider becoming a channel member, or join my community in the deployment zone. But I've also got another. So you can deploymentzone.tv, and that's, I've got to do this bit. That's where all the videos are, and the DZ TV community are gorgeous people, sexy people. And now I'm also building my own community, and there's gorgeous, sexy people in that as well. So yeah, consider. Right, let's go dive into the chat, because this is what you do. This is a chat. This is interactive. So I'll dive in, and we'll see what intelligent things are coming out of the chat this evening. Put tinfoil on your windows. It helps sometime, Ben Spencer. See, this is the level of intelligence that we can get from the chat when it's really hot. Put tinfoil on your windows. Let's go for another dive into the chat. Mikey P says it's not cool enough. Hi, Mikey P. I don't even know what you mean. Hi from Oregon. Caught you live, yay. Oregon, that's in the colonies, isn't it? I think, so in one of the colonies. I don't know. Datsun Des says, I sit in the garden for an hour in 38 degrees sun, then the house feels cool when I go back inside. That's probably a good idea. Just roast your nuts off in the sunshine, and you know, get the other half to flip you over like a spare patty, so the other side burns as well, and then step back in the house and it feels a bit cool. I mean, my pussy has barely come out of his bush all day long. When it's really hot, my nothing intelligent from my melted brain from Liam Stanley, thank you. But yeah, when it's really hot, my pussy just stays in the bush all day, and he doesn't come out at all. He loves it in his bush, deep in the bush. And he's only just come out of the bush because the house is too warm for him, but he'll go and sit in his favourite bush and hang out there instead. Darren Badger King Hartley, thank you for the first dono of the evening. You are legend. I'm on holiday in Spain. It's cooler here than the UK. What? Have you considered putting some resin models in the sun to make them the melty death guy? Actually, I've got some Emperor's Children up there. The, what are they called? I think they... Pardon me. I think these are the Palatine Blade models from Forge World. I think that's the name of them. I mean, I've got Ancient Rylanor up there and a few others for the Emperor's Children project as part of the Isvan 3 legions that I'm going to be doing. And some of the saws are bendy. Very bendy. Hang about, talk amongst yourselves. Keep talking amongst yourselves for a bit. I mean, look at that. That's bent. That's proper bent, that is. If ever you get stuff from Forge World or from any resin manufacturer, you need to run a hairdryer under that to keep it straight in, or a tap, or cut it off and put a plastic one on the end. But those are they're Emperor's Children ones. They're not, you know, normal power swords. They've got their own shizzle. 1 minute. Right, how we doing? I'm from Rhode Island. First colony to tell you guys to kick dirt. I don't know. I think many other colonies told us to kick dirt before the Americans did. I don't know. Maybe the Americans were the first to tell us to kick dirt. They probably were. I don't know my American history very well. I know lots of bits of history, like a broad brush, but I don't know the specifics of history that I would know, like First World War, Second World War, obviously, because who wouldn't? Know quite a bit going back, like Dark Ages and Roman history, medieval, a bit of medieval history. And then some history from other countries I know quite well as well. Like Genghis Khan's very interesting. Russian history, very interesting. French history, very interesting. Roman, obviously. So Dagda, been a member for 6 months. Love Ancient Rylanor, such brilliant fluff. Yes. Technically, Delaware was the first state. Hello from Syrupland, Vermont. I think that's another colony. Vanguard Wargaming says first American colony to at least lols. First American colony. Vanguard, I'm assuming that you're from one of the colonies, which is why English is your second language. Aaron 582 Raros, what do you think of Lucius turning traitor during Isvan 3? It's great, isn't it? That part of the story arc is absolutely great. Basically, in the Lear Temple, at the Lear Temple when Fulgrim retrieved the Lair Blade, and this is another thing, by the way, that was signposted, right? The Lear Temple was, and the Lear cities, floating cities, were a riot of noise and colour, and there's this sword embedded in the middle of the oval temple. And Graham McNeil, God bless him, I love Graham McNeil because he does chaos, he goes hardcore on the chaos, and he literally describes an alien snake-like bestial orgy going on in the middle of this thing, and Fulgrim just goes, oh, there's a sword in the middle of that bestial snake-loving Xenos. Spoiler, you can't say Gareth Morgan's. It's not spoiler alerts. The book has been out for 15 years and it's book 3. It doesn't really spoil anything, but he just walks straight out into the thing and grabs the sword in the middle of a Xenos orgy. And I like the fact that there's a bestial Xenos Slaneshi orgy in like book 3, 4, 5 of the Horus Heresy. It's like bam, right at the start it's in there. And anyway, so Lucius and Sol Tarvitz beat Eidolon and the other guy to the temple before the other of the great captains, and because of that, and because Lucius works under Sol Tarvitz, he was like chucked down to Isvan 3 along with all the traitors and stuff, and he didn't care. Lucius didn't care whether he was considered. He didn't care about loyalty. He didn't care about honor. He didn't care about. Well, he did care about honor. He likes honor duels. Like he accused Garfield of cheating when he headbutted him and stuff. He just wanted to be perfect. Wanted to be the best swordsman he possibly could. And he was pissed that he was dropped down on Isvan 3 with the guys, and that would be the end of his story. So when he had an opportunity to turned traitor, he took it with both hands. The beautiful bit about Lucius turning traitor is he convinced Solomon Demeter, who's one of the, he's like a Garrow equivalent, Soltarvit's equivalent, Loken equivalent, one of the good guy equivalents, and he convinced him that the breach was, oh, you have to fight me, brother. The bad guys are coming. Let's go kill them all. And so Solomon Demeter went in there and slaughtered a bunch of them, despite the fact that Lucium let them through. I mean, it was delicious irony. And he took Charmel Mosian's head as well, the great chaplain. So I thought that whole bit was done very, very well. I liked that bit. Yeah. What was I thinking of? Soltarvitz and the thing and the stuff. Anyway. That's not a spoiler, is it? Lucius is a Kont, no other words. I know, but they do bad guys really well, don't they? Like, Lucius is a good bad guy. He's reminds me of Eric Cartman or the baby in Family Guy or something. He's unrepentantly, unashamedly an arsehole. And it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I'll lick anything right now, so long as it's cold, Aussie. Hey, Winters, love the content. Keep it going. I'll try. J Hunt, Lucius wanted to be famous. Yes, he did want fame, amongst other things. He thought that by being the greatest swordsman in the entire galaxy, it would bring him extra fame. So yes, it's hot outside. Thank you for all coming, and thank you and things. So what's been happening? Update up my end. I'll let you know about my update up my end. Okay, got a bit of G&T in here as well to keep me fresh and topped up. I haven't had alcohol in about 3 months. No, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. It's a long time for me. I used to drink a lot back when I was like sad. I used to drink a lot. Now I'm less sad. I'm trying to not alcoholize because it doesn't help, particularly when you have mental issues. But it's okay to tap into the well every now and then, I think. And what she does, I'll show you. This is a good idea. Top tip, guys. Where's my tweezers? So look, I'm gonna grab a bit. Come here, bastard. Talk amongst yourselves. What she does is she makes ice cubes and she puts like bits of fruit in the middle of the ice cube, like strawberry. This is lemon. She even does ice cubes really well. She's lovely. What kind of gin? It's Asda. Well, it was the cans. You know, the cans of cheap Asda diet gin and tonic that you get in like a 4-pack. You know, not special gin. Where is your no retreat invite? Says the Dagda. I think, well, I'm not sure I'm going to this no retreat, which is either in September or October. I don't think I'm going to this one. I've been to like 4 or 5 now. Canned gin, WTF advert. I know, it comes in a can. It's gin and tonic. Keep it in the fridge, nice and cool. Knock it back. It's just, you know, let's not be ginist about it. It's gin with tonic in it, okay? Right, so my weekend. Hi guys, what have I actually painted? Help finish off the secret project. Working on the 13 flayed ones over there. Definitely keep that out of the way so you guys can't see it. And I've done a lot of editing and I've done some things on the YouTubes, okay? So, oh, and you might have probably seen the Artist Opus thing. So that's well. Thank you to the people who've bought that. Because if you do buy the Artist Opus set, not only do you get excellent brushes, but I get free brushes. And thank you to Byron from Artist Opus for... He said he'd send me... Byron, if you're watching this, you haven't sent me those free brushes yet. Want the free brushes. Where was I? Yes, film Friday, Saturday, Sunday, okay? Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And what I started on the Saturday, there was a couple of people that I met from the Weekend at Bernie's event. And we did a 3,000 point game of Word Bearers and Demons versus the 13th. That was absolutely lovely. And that was with Imperex and Gitsnik And Impirex, who turned up, he's a chef, like a proper head chef, and he turned up with these almond cookies on. Oh my God, they were the best cookies I'd ever eaten. So if you're not watching this now and you catch it later, Impirex, thanks for the cookies. I ate them all. And I don't know how many calories there were in those cookies, but after I had 3 in one sitting, I was bouncing off the walls a little bit. So I kept hold of the other ones for the next day and then just ate 2, and then I was bouncing off the walls for a little bit. And in this heat, that wasn't useful. James, March of War is here. Thank you for joining March of War. Marchofwar.com. No, marchofyourwar.co.uk for all your resin needs, like bases and things, like doing bases for the flayed ones right now. You've probably seen how I do the bases if you watch the OSL speed painting Necron video. So that's happening there. Yeah, and then I filmed on the Friday and the Sunday. Can't wait for the 13th versus the Word. It's a good fight, actually. It's narrative one. We've got... I love you too, James. We've got there's a full-on narrative wrapped in that one, so that's good. And talking about narrative, on the Friday and the Sunday I filmed as well with Monkey. And we started filming my latest campaign. And this one is going to be called The Silver Cage. And obviously it's with Monkey, so it's Space Wolves. And he thinks the campaign is about Space Wolves. But the protagonists or antagonists in this campaign is Death Guard. So my end of all things. So obviously the campaign is really about the Death Guard. Because he came to me and said, I've got this really good idea. Let's do this. This is... So you've seen Monkey Stylus. He was in the battle report of the weekend, Monkey versus Stylus. So anyway, he did the He-Man's thing. Brapscallion, he means the plague clock, not the silver cage. No, I mean the bell tolls, sorry. It's not called the plague clock, and it's not called the silver cage. I started filming my first campaign. Brapscallion, thanks for being in the chat. It's going to be called the bell tolls. So what Monkey did was, this is the kind of friends I have. He turned up with a laptop and a PowerPoint presentation. Now, I've had other people come up to me with campaign ideas, like good old Brapscallion in the chat there, who's one of my mods. Thank you so much, my chief mod. And I've sat down and talked to people about campaigns before, but I've never had a PowerPoint presentation. And he went through his PowerPoint presentation, which, bless him, he worked on really, really hard. And I said, no, I'm not doing that. And then we sat down and So his PowerPoint presentation was the Space Wolves. Let's do a full-on Space Wolves assault on a world that has, I think it was either turned to chaos or has become chaos, or there's a chaos uprising, something like that. Monkey's in the chat. I had to present it because it took a year for a year to read it. Exactly. Because you, Monkey, yeah, you sent it to me and then I didn't read it. And then on one occasion when you came up like a year later, you brought the laptop, you opened up and you presented it to me and you did the full-on presentation, and God bless you for that. And the Dagda $4.99, thank you for your super chat. Appreciate you, love you. With no message either. It's just give me some cash. If there's anyone out there who wants to help support me, just give me some cash. I love you. Thanks, Dagda. Keep the train rolling. Anyway, so he did the thing, had a laptop, and it was like, no, we're going to go full-on Space Wolves attacking some stuff. It was a force-fed presentation, and basically he said, and then when the Space Wolves do this bit, then they'll do the next bit, and then when they've done the next bit, then we'll get them to the next bit. And after the end of the glorious presentation, PowerPoint presentation, I said, well, what happens in mission 1 if the Space Wolves lose? And it was like, oh, because it was like the original drop, the first drop, they lose, then what happens? Then they lose. So the thing about doing a campaign is you need to make sure that there's win conditions for both sides. You can't say, right, we're going to get like this, and then we're going to hold the landing fields, and that'll be a great one, how they took over the landing fields, and then we're going to do the massive tank battle thing, and then after the armor's destroyed, then we'll get inside. You can't do that. It's got to have a win condition for both sides. Technically. Not necessarily, by the way. Because I'm also, tangent, it wouldn't be a live stream without a Winter's Tangent, I'm thinking about doing a campaign with the Cadian dynasty. Here's an idea. Stay hydrated in the heat. Thank you. I'll try. Here's some gin and tonic. Stay hydrated. Mm. Mm. There wasn't a projector involved, Aussie, but he was very passionate about it. I love that guy. I have an idea for a campaign. Tell me what you think of this. How about, so the Cadian dynasty. I'm thinking about introducing my, so not a lot of narrative. You guys don't know a lot about a narrative about the Cadian dynasty yet, my Necrons. So I was thinking about introducing the narrative in a campaign, going full on campaign. Now, here's the idea I have. Stay at the start, very start of the campaign, that all the way through this campaign, say it's 5 shows or 10 shows or however long, every single battle, the Necrons will win. And say that at the start to let you know. So this campaign, this is what I mean about campaigns. You don't necessarily need a to both sides. So all that stuff I was giving Monkey about, no, 1 minute, the other side need to win. I've rode back on what I told him and what I was telling you 10 minutes ago. You can run a campaign like a Black Knight library novel where every step of the way the world dies. When a Necron dynasty erupts, we're not talking about a tomb world, we're talking about a dynasty. Forge World once wrote a book called The Fall of Orpheus, in the old big Forge World books they used to do. It's an absolutely cracking book if you guys can get hold of it. And The Fall of Orpheus concerns a dynasty waking up in the Orpheus sector. A lot of my games are set in the Orpheus sector, and Gehenna's set in the Orpheus sector, on the edge of the Orpheus sector as well. And this dynasty wakes up. It's not a tomb world. When a dynasty wakes up, there might be hundreds or thousands of tomb worlds waking up across this entire sector of space. Inside the Orpheus sector, there are 3 whole chapters of Space Marines. And by the end of the Forge World book, they're all completely wiped out. That's like wiping out the Blood Angels, the Space Wolves, and the Ultramarines in one go. Because there's nothing they can do to stop the awakening of an entire dynasty. I mean, the stories that they tell are heroic, last-ditch stuff, and of each of the Space Marine chapters and how each of them get winked out, wiped out, is a beautiful story in itself. And there are rumours at the end of the book that one of the chapters may be surviving somewhere in like squad size or company size strength, but that's it. But essentially, when this dynasty awakens across hundreds of sectors, across hundreds of systems, it's one big sector, so it's one big sector, hundreds of systems, thousands of worlds. There's nothing anyone could do. They send in a whole fleet to try and stop them, and they all get wiped out. So that's what happens when a dynasty awakens. So I'm thinking about doing a campaign where the Cadian dynasty just, it will win, and it will win, and it will win. And what each of the battle reports will do is, say we do like, mission 1 might be full-on tank battle. Well, the whole of the campaign will be to see, there's 3 conditions for the Imperium once the Cadian dynasty fully wakes up. And one is, everyone gets wiped out, and all the Space Marines and all the Guard and all the fleets that were sent in are absolutely pooned. The second one is, some of them get out. So some Space Marines, some fleet, some Guard members get out. And the third one is that actually they do form a really good fighting retreat, and they cripple some of the Necrons as they arise, and they manage to get off with millions or even billions of Imperial citizens out of the sector, and therefore it's actually a really, so you do a campaign where we know the Necrons are going to win each stage of the campaign, but how badly do the Imperium get on during the stages of the campaign? And that would allow me to show off different looks of the Necrons, like the fast stuff happening over here and the mass infantry and horde armies over here versus tank battles there, or drop pod assaults here. And we can show different characters, different looks of what it's like to be caught up in an entire overwhelming tsunami of living metal just rolling across planet after planet after planet after planet. And we'll be following the campaign, we'll be following the story, the Cadian dynasty story, to see just how bad it got for the Imperium. That's my idea for a campaign with them. And it's just an idea. That's just an idea. So, Liam Stanley, hit the like button, people. Yes, please. The machine spirit will hear you clicking that like button. The machine spirit will hear you subscribing or commenting in any video, not just my videos, but if you like someone's videos out there and you watch other things other than 40k content, just like and put your like videos in your YouTube thing on private, but just like or subscribe or write a comment, and then the machine spirit will hear your prayers and will go, oh, that one's quite popular. There's a lot of engagement in that video. So we'll promote this more for the algorithm, the holy algorithm of Antioch. So yeah, so for me or for anyone that you quite like and you want, it's free, right? If there's any, like I do it all the time, for YouTube channels that you want to support, but you might not want to chuck money out, or you just like because you like 100 different YouTube channels, then liking away and supporting away and clicking away is a way to help support your favorite content creators. It's all just a popularity contest, isn't it? So, okay. So anyway, back to the monkey story. So, Friday and Sunday, we filmed the first couple of parts of the Bell Tolls campaign, Space Wolves versus Death Guard. And he came to me with his presentation, this full-on assault of Space Wolves hitting a world. And then we sat down and we talked through the campaign ideas. It takes somewhere between, it'd take a day, maybe 4, 5, 6 hours, sometimes longer. It takes a whole day of sitting down and talking through the ideas that we have to come up with the skeleton of a campaign idea, to come up with the how we're going to do it, when we're going to do it, what kind of forces that we're intending to bring, what are the win and loss conditions, are there any legacy effects from one mission to the next mission. So we did all of that, and I turned it on its head. So that instead of the Space Wolves attacking a world, it's a world where the Space Wolves have already pacified, and the end of all things, my Death Guard are attacking the world. So it's not Space Wolves bringing light relief to a besieged Imperial sector. It's the other way around. It's they've done their job, and the Death Guard are attacking them, caught them with their trousers down. And that's what we did, flip on its head, which is why I said right at the very start, the campaign's mainly about me and the Death Guard and the end of all things. So that's a campaign that'll be coming sometime in August. And I'm looking forward to releasing that one and talk about campaigns and welcome Bobby Hooper to the Tier 3 13th. Talking about campaigns, and Bobby Hooper out there, is I have now released the Silver Cage campaign for YouTube memberships. So the YouTube membership thing's continuing to evolve. We're working this through, people. So the way it works is if you're Tier 1, you become a member. Tier 2, you get Discord. And Bobby is going to be the first person. He's the first person I know who's now a Tier 3 member. So you get the Discord and the Silver Cage, which was previously exclusive only to DZTV members, is now also available to YouTube members at Tier 3. And so Tier 3 will be a way for me to also monetize some of the content and give it out there to members as well. So if you'd like to support me, you can come and join us in the deployment zone. But if you'd like to support me, you can also become a YouTube member and you get access to videos and campaigns as well, just like Bobby. So yeah, I think the intention is for the Bell Tolls to be YouTube one, and now the Silver Cage is now available on YouTube. So yeah, if you are watching this at the time that I'm saying these words, or if you're watching this after the time I've said these words and thought, oh, what was that Silver Cage? I enjoyed that thing, and I wanna get a tickle of one of Winters' campaigns, then consider becoming a YouTube member. And then you can watch the Silver Cage, which is me and Stylus, it's Grey Knights and Thousand Suns. And god damn it, it's hot in here. Any hints and tips of how to cool down in this heat, right? Yes, Mikey P, the end of all things, just hate the Space Wolves. I mean, obviously, the greatest Space Wolf campaign was the end of all things versus your Space Wolves, Mikey P, in the deployment zone. Saga of the Red Frost 1 and 2. And Monkey did concede, I think, that you are the better Space Wolf player, that you are the greatest Space Wolf player of all time. But he wants to jump on top of the membership bar. It's hot. Get a wet towel on your neck. No, it's gonna get cold water soaked cloth on the back of your neck. Why do people? No, Dan Rose, you could set up a swamp cooler if not too humid. Can you imagine if I had some kind of in the background there? It would just drown me out. Mikey P, naturally the best Space Wolf player. Monkey, better than Stylus at least, yeah. What's the tier thing, boss? I'm tier 1. Good call. So originally when I set up the memberships, the Dagda, it was just a way to throw extra money at me. And I think I talked about it next week, like the evolution, So now we've got tier 1, 2, 3. So tier 1 is a member, you get the images, you get the stuff, and it's a way to just show your support. Tier 2 gets you that and gets access to the Discord, and tier 3 gets you that and access to the Discord and extra videos. So I've put in tiers for the membership, and the reason why I've done that, and I've got loads of ideas from the community about how I should go about doing it, but saying, well, maybe it should just be a flat thing, or maybe you could do this, or maybe there's like 78 different ways you could do this. But the YouTube algorithm, the holy machine spirit, really likes tiers, and it promotes some over others. Well, it really likes tiers. I don't know how it goes about promoting it, but it says when you go into the thing and you type, it says try this and try this, you should try this, and so it likes tiers. And 2, just like over on DZTV, there's about 5-10% of people in DZTV who aren't subscribed to the videos. They're just about 5-10% who are just members through the DZTV Patreon, which just gives you access to the Discord because they don't have any time to want to watch any extra videos. They just want to join the community. So I've introduced tier 1 and tier 2 different, tier 2 and tier 3 differently. So for those people out there who don't have any time to watch any extra videos or don't care about any extra videos, they can just become tier 2 members and join the community. And then tier 3 members get the community and videos as well. Like Harrow Master, Aegis, welcome to the 13th, tier 3. So there's 3 tiers. If you're already a tier 1 or tier 2, you can upgrade. And there might be a tier 4, tier 5, tier 6, tier 7, tier 8 in the future, up to tier 112 potentially, or it might all get cancelled and go back into what. I'm new to this, okay? Years ago when I started the deployment zone, there wasn't any memberships and things. There was a YouTube Red thing, which I was in for about a month, and then YouTube went, and now YouTube have started the membership thing again, and they've paid millions. I think it was 30 million for Tim the Tapman to jump ship to YouTube, and just like Ninja got 50 million for Mixer, and Mixer is doing really well. And Shroud, they both went to Mixer. Membership thing is a thing now, and it wasn't back then, and now it's a thing. So now I'm trying to do the membership thing, and this is where we are. So David Temple 64, it's 92.2 in the UK record break. I don't know what that means. I'm just glad it's right. Calls. A Kirby, yay, take off the hat, drink ice water. This hat does not come off. I was born with the hat on, surgically implanted, and also it keeps the data coils clean for the MUI updates. So when I plug into the Throw Mechanicum, there's nothing. It's always a clean connection. So, well, the other way I could reply to that is take the hat off, drink ice water. The one way I could have done that is saying, what hat? The Dagda upgraded membership to the 13th tier 3. See, that's how it works. So now you've got access to the Silver Cage. Have fun. And there's also the Discord, the Winter's SEO Discord. And then there'll be more videos coming. And the deployment zone isn't going anywhere. The deployment zone I set up with Liam and it's a community of many things with many videos in. Right, okay, so this weekend, right, over to you before I go off on another wild tangent. Are we following? So fill the soda bottle with water, drop a soda bottle in the freezer, when it's frozen, set under seat. Or a frozen soda bottle under the thing. Under your seat? Is that what you do? What are your best tips for staying cool? Sometimes I just open the fridge and just stand in front of the fridge like that, stick your head in it. Sit in the car with the aircon on, read a book. I'm really looking forward to the next Horus Heresy book by my friend and your friend, Aaron Dembski-Bowden. His books are fantastic and have just been getting better and better and better. Betrayer is one of the best, greatest books in the Heresy. Mind you, The Emperor of Mankind as well was really good as well. Not a fan of the first Heretic, but I think that's because I really don't like word bearers. And in particular, I don't like Lorgar. Now, I get the fact that I get the fact that there needs to be bad guys like Darth Vader and Freddy Krueger. I get the fact that you need bad guys, and Erebus and Lorgar make really good bad guys. And you need that kind of... But maybe he gets across their baddie. I mean, Lorgar is basically the only Primarch who is pretty evil. I mean, Abaddon, the way ADB writes Abaddon in Talon of Horus and Black Legion allows you an amount of sympathy for Abaddon. And I highly recommend, if you're a Chaos player, you must read Black Legion and Talon of Horus. I think it's Talon of Horus and then Black Legion. I think that's the way around, those two books by ADB about the Black Legion. But you have to read them because he humanizes Abaddon in a way that, well, humanizes Abaddon who wasn't human before. His character is really, really compelling. Really compelling character. So it's just amazing that he's able to pull that off. And what was I getting on to? Lorgar and stuff. Yeah, so you need complex characters, you need bad guy characters, and of all the Primarchs, they all have their strengths and their weaknesses, but Lorgar is, I think, like Kurz. Kurz is a complex character. Conrad Kurz is a complex character with different motivations, and the Kurz Primarch book is outstanding. But Lorgar is unashamedly an arsehole, and he knows he's an arsehole, and he does it anyway. He knows what he's doing and where he's leading his legion is wrong. But he believes what he believes, and he feels what he feels, and he's gonna do it anyway, like bad guys do. Sam Nash gifted 10 memberships. Sam, you are a legend. I really appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you for gifting 10 memberships. Marius Gage, have you been given any spoilers for the new book? No, I haven't been given any spoilers. And if I had, I would refuse. I don't like... The only time I actually spoil stuff like books and computer games and movies for myself is when I hear the reviews are pants and I'm probably not going to see it anyway. So the new Batman, for example, I heard that there was a lot of good hype about the new Batman. And so I deliberately cut out anything about the new Batman at all and all the teasers. I think at one point at YouTube it was like, watch the first 10 minutes of Batman, or watch the first 5 minutes of Batman. And they literally put it on the thing. So I deliberately didn't watch that. So even if I was given spoilers of things that I really want to watch, I just clear that off my thing. So Sam, thank you for gifting those members. You are legends. Neil Walsh, thank you for your donation. Love you. In 10th edition, should there be a way to play that's Universal Special Rules, Army Special Rules, and Limited Strategies and CPs? Yes, there absolutely should. I think I banged on about it for a while. I believe Universal Special Rules should come back, but I think they still exist. They didn't really get rid of them. Objective Secured is a Universal Special Rule. Blast is a Universal Special Rule. Character keyword, vehicle keyword, anything that's a keyword technically is a Universal Special Rule. If you flip to a data sheet and it's got the rules for those units underneath that data sheet, and then it's got, and they shall know no fear, or then it will say, all those other things that you have to flip to another part of the book to figure out what that does. It says disgustingly resilient. What does that mean now? You flip to that book. Oh, that's a... So those are universal special... Those are special rules that are not printed on the data sheet. I think it would be a much cleaner game if there was maybe not to the level... I mean, Heresy does it really well, but the USRs in this book... I mean, there's about 20 pages of USRs. If it was me, I would cut it down to 30, 40, I don't know, pick a number, somewhere between 20 and 40 USRs. And then everyone would know what they are. So when it says fearless, you know, this, so you've got a thing and it's got Khorne Berserkers in it, and Khorne Berserkers get an extra 2 attacks on the charge, say, I don't know, and they have the fearless keyword and the fleet keyword, then everyone knows what fleet and fearless is. And in 40k, 30k, for example, fearless is you never take morale, and fleet is, I think it's reroll advances or reroll charges, something like that. I forget. But I'd have like a good 20 or 40 USRs, not 20 or 40 pages, but 20 or 40 USRs where everyone could refer to them. And then within a couple of months of the edition, or 6 months at least, everyone would know what they are, particularly that some of them would be used again and again and again and again and again. So the game needs some USRs. What they did was in 7th edition, is they had USRs, they had universal special rules in the core rules, and they decided to get rid of them all, and then all the special rules they're brought back in the codexes, but they're codex specific. And what they need to do is get rid of all the codex specific stuff, put them back in the rules, but have less of them, and so everyone knows and can jump in there, like objective secured, like character. Army special rules and limited stratagem. So army special rules, I don't think you need that many to make a faction feel compelling. I think you only need a couple of army special rules to make a faction feel compelling. Again, 30k does it really well. There's like each legion has 1 or 2 special rules that they have, and each legion has 1 extra reaction that they have. So in most cases, each legion has 2 or 3 things that they specifically do. So where do you get the difference between the Night Lords, who are completely different, to the Blood Angels? Well, not so different, actually. Where do you get the difference between the Night Lords, who are completely different, to the Imperial Fists, for example, if there's only 2 or 3 core things at the heart of it? Well, the Warlord traits also come into effect, and then there's specific units that you can only get into. So there's enough there's enough differences in the book to allow you to build different feeling legions without bringing loads of extra rules. And as for limited stratagems, which you ask, I would get rid of CP altogether. Okay? Instead, I'd have the CP in the core rules, like a reroll and auto pass morale, and get rid of the fallback one. No one ever uses that. You know, have 4 or 5 core ones in the core rulebook, and in each codex I would have 3 or 6 core strats. And the way I'd run, Scythian Nelio, yes, no CP, 1 stratagem per sub-faction, and 3 in the core rules, and every strat once per game. Exactly. So you have every strat once per game, no CP, but also, to make it really, really simple, I would have 1 strat per turn. So in a 5-turn game, you can do 5 strats. And you know that there's, say, here's just spitball numbers. Say there's 4 in the core rules, and say there's 4 in your codex. Everyone will know what the 4 core rules are, right? And then when you sit down to play against Genestealer Cults or Harlequins, because you never really play against Genestealer Cults or Harlequins very much, because your mate always plays Death Guard and Space Marines, because a lot of people play Death Guard and Space Marines. You know there's 4 core strats for them. You know the 4 core ones in the main rulebook, and you know the Space Marine ones, and you know the Death Guard ones. You got that down, and then you go to an event, and someone's looking across from you, and they've got Genestealer Cults, and you're like, oh. You can ask them, well, what are your 4 core strats? And they'll say, well, this one does this one does this, this one does this, this one does this. And then you'll know what they do. And not only that, you'll know that they can only do 1 of those per turn. And what I would do in return is I would make them a bit beefier. So, for example, here's a good one. Gene Stealer Cults. Oh, in turn one, one of my core strats, so 4 core strats, Gene Stealer Cults, you could have like go to ground. And it could be like, select this, and until the next turn, everyone gets light cover, dense cover. So make it beef, but they can only do that once in a turn. So you might do it in turn 1, but you might do it. And then turn 2, it might be, and then another one might be, in this turn, your army can always fall back and charge, or fall back, shoot and charge. So make each of them a little bit beefer, but it happens once. And you'll kind of know that. And then you'll make 1 defensive, 1 really offensive, and a couple a bit tricksy. Or in some cases, you might make 2 offensive and 2 defensive. Or if you're bringing Blood Angels, then the 4 core strats for Blood Angels, 3 of them could be hyper offensive, and 1 of them might be a bit tricksy. And just keep it simple, stupid. Keep it simple, stupid. And that doesn't take away some of the meat and potatoes of the game, and that doesn't make the game any less serious when you play it, or any less complex when you play it. Chess isn't complex. It isn't the rules of chess that make it deeply complex. It's all the interactions that can make it really complex. If you want to add layers and layers and layers and layers of complexity, then bring them out in the Grand Tournament pack. So Grand Tournament pack has primary, secondary, tertiary. You get rid of all of that for open play. And in the match play, you might have, here's match play Maelstrom, here's match play Tempest, here's match play Old School Eternal War, where they just do this and this and this. You can layer in layers of complexity in grand tournaments, which you don't need to bring and spread across into the rest of the rule set. Brat, thank you for being a member for 8 months. Would you rather be or a wasp? Ha! You're absolutely hilarious. Sam Nash gifted another 10 memberships. Sam, what have you been drinking? That's 20 gifted subs in one evening. Everyone, give Sam a warm hand on his entrance. Well, no, he hasn't just... He's already entered. He already entered, so don't give him a warm hand on his entrance. Sam Nash, Sam N, I know your name. Yeah, he's already had a nice warm hand on his entrance. He likes a nice warm hand on his entrance. Just give him a round of applause instead. Bobby Hooper, how could I get a copy of your Apocalypse rules? Kasia? Email, was it team at Deployment Zone for the Apocalypse? Bobby Hopper, if you email Apocalypse in the subject title, so send me an email, send Kat an email, send an email to team@deploymentzone.tv, that's team@deploymentzone.tv, and write in the subject title, Apocalypse. Kat will send you a copy. I put that in the video to the Apocalypse thing. Don't write loads of text and things, because she's got it set to bots. And so it'll go and it will go out. If you write loads of things in there, then maybe you've already emailed team at Deployment Zone, but you wrote lots of stuff, and then the bot was like, nah, and killed it. So yeah, team at deploymentzone.tv, write Apocalypse in the subject title, and you'll get a copy of the Apocalypse rules. That's another example of keeping it simple. Thanks, Sam. Aussie, I've got one of the free subs. M. Wilson's got 1C. Look, it's good. Sam, perfect timing is the kids and their mum are all out of town. Sam Nash protects. He's a legend, isn't he? So what were we talking about? We were talking about stuff and things. Oh, that's lovely, that is. Okay. You know, if you need a degree only to read that. Yeah, exactly. Like Ice Wolf. You need a degree to read the AdMech book. Less rules makes the game more playable. You need a PhD to read the AdMech book. Now, look. A rule system can have 10 rules in it, or it can have 1,000,000 rules in it. A better rule system might have 1,000,000 rules in it. That might be the best, most accurate, most competitive war game ever, but it's got 10 billion rules in it. The more and more and more and more rules you have in a system, the less and less and less accessible that system is. The most successful video games are the most accessible video games. Pokemon Go, COD, Pac-Man, whatever, I don't know. And the more complex ones... So, I did a video on it. It's like accessibility and complexity. The game needs to be as accessible as it can. Because, this is an interesting thing. Mini Wargaming put up a poll recently. You may have seen it on your thing. You might have seen it on your YouTube thing where they asked, do you mainly paint? Do you mainly play? Do you mainly read lore, or all of the above? And da, da, da. So the vast majority of people mainly paint Warhammer 40k, and it was like 3 times higher than the number that play. But the people who clicked all of the above, which includes playing, obviously, if you tie that into the mainly play, then it was below 40%. And last time I checked, that poll had reached 7.8 thousand people. So of a poll of 7.8 thousand people are people who subscribe to Mini Wargaming, so there's a skew. I mean, every poll, you have a skew in the sample type. So you have to be a member of Mini Wargaming, so that's going to skew the sample type. If you're a member of some of the more competitive channels, then that might skew the sample type more towards playing, for example. But of a sample type of 7.8 thousand subscribers to Mini Wargaming, it was less than 40% play the game. That's a bad number as far as Games Workshop are concerned. They want that number to be somewhere like 8. Well, ideally, they'd like that number to be at 100%, which it isn't ever going to get to. But they'd like it to be as close to 100% as possible. And I'm thinking off the top of my head, they want it to be double. They don't want it to be less than 40. They want it to be somewhere in the region of about 80%. Because if you play, then you spend more. If you're more engaged with whatever your hobby is, you spend more, and it's better for their business. If you watch football on TV, then you're probably spending less money to the people who are actually going to events and engaging that way. If you're spending money to paint miniatures, then you're probably spending less money than people who, I think it's, I'd say almost certainly spending less money than people who are playing the game, because people who are playing the game buy lots of crap they never use, like lots of piles of shame. You want people engaged in the hobby. So Games Workshop ideally would like 80% people painting, 80% people reading the lore, 80% people playing the game, 80% people playing the video. They would like the community to be engaged with the genre as much as they possibly can, because then it drives more sales. And having less than 40% of people in the sample size actually playing the game is damning, I think. Damning. And I wonder if the game was a lot more accessible, like it was at the start of 8th edition, whether they could pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers. If the game was a lot more accessible, then a lot more people would play, then a lot more people would spend money. There's a lot of hypotheticals in there, but generally speaking, I think I'm right. Fight me. Sample bias. Yeah, I mentioned sample bias, of course, Adam Welsh. There will be a sample bias with the Mini Wargaming community, and the sample bias will swing another way if you did that on Tabletop Titans, for example, or on another competitive channel. Mind you, the sample bias would swing another way if you'd put it on Miniac or Squidmar or someone like that, who are more of a hobby-focused channel. So there's always sample bias. And I made a lot of assumptions. But it is still a sample, and that is still a result from a sample. So of that sample, less than 40% play. It's not good, is it? It's not good. Painting takes most of the hobby time. It does. That's the other thing. This hobby is a time sink, isn't it? Painting, collecting, playing. It's all a time sink. So if you're spending a lot of time painting, and if you're spending a lot of time collecting, and you're spending a lot of time consuming content either through YouTube or through a book or on a video game, then that's less and less and less time that you have to play. There's a lot of casual gamers out there that might only play once a month or once every couple of months, or used to play once a month or every couple of months when you didn't need a PhD to read a codex. And now they play less because you could easily play a pickup game when it was, here's an easy codex to read at the start of 8th edition, and you could be painting away and having fun, and your mate says, hey, let's play a game, and then you can easily play a game because you didn't need a PhD, and you can have fun, and then you might put your idea in your head, oh, I'll buy that next, and I'll buy that next, and add that and add that. So, yeah, what was I talking about? Probably cost favour. Think is what are we talking about? Morning Gamers. What did I miss? Nothing important. Walking Death. A Kirby Factor. No idea. How hot is it in Freedom units? Kasha, how hot is it in Freedom units? On my phone, I found out it says 35 degrees here. It's never 35 degrees here. We're not We're not set for it. We are not set for it. It says 35 on my phone. What do you mean 29? Real feel 29? Did you actually check the weather? What is the thermostat stat? I'll find out. There's a thermostat on the heating thing. $31.4. Did you say in freedom units? Sorry. I don't know. That's not freedom units, is it? That's in sensible units. That, you know. That's in sensible units. Mind you, we've got plenty of freedom units when it comes to like miles and pints and things like that over here. Games Workshop, you best be listening to this genius. Oh, thanks, Adwag. I am not a genius. I've just exposed myself to the hobby quite a lot. Here in Texas, we're at 110 temperature, but that's Texas for you. Yeah. The land of the big sky. About 95 in freedom units. Okay. When I started 40k, I had no idea what army to play, but when I saw your AdMech, I became inspired to aid the Omnissiah. That's nice of you, Twisty Samurai. And yeah, it's a shame that the book... Look, I've barely touched my AdMech because it hurts. And I'm a very stupid man. So when I open the book and I'm like reading that bit and then how does that link? I'm trying to build lists that will be interesting for people to... What's this? Go away, YouTube. I'm trying to read lists that... Yeah, AdMech. Puh. And I love my AdMech. Deathwatch lists make my brain hurt after a while. Deathwatch, interestingly, Inquisitive Effects. Deathwatch are the Swiss Army knife of Space Marines. So they have a tool for every job. So what you want to do if you play Deathwatch, because I've got a friend, Grey Knight SEOs, GE, member for 8 months. Thank you. Love you. Thank you for being a member for 8 months. And is Sol Garrow going to be in your heresy force? Yes, but you won't know who he is because his name in 40k is Sol Garrow, because he won't give up his name, because then Abaddon will see him coming. And if you want to know what I'm talking about, then as of last week, there's a playlist where you can go and see my storytime videos. And there's a story time that I did for Brother Captain Sol Garrow. And that'll explain what I'm talking about and explain why GE would ask that. But yeah, if I put him in back then as a captain, then you won't know who he is. I know who he is. What was I talking about? A Deathwatch. Yes, Deathwatch are the Swiss Army knife of Space Marines. They can do pretty much anything. You can, because you've got the whole of the Space Marine Codex plus their stuff, and they can adapt to use the chapter tactics of other chapters. So it's like having the Space Marine book and having all the sub-faction books as well. So the way you need to build a Deathwatch list is, what do you want it to do? Do you want it to be really shooty? Do you want it to be this way? Do you want it to be that? How do you want it to perform on the tabletop? And then aim for that and build your list around it. And there's probably a way to do it with Deathwatch. The thing that Deathwatch do really well, though, is kill Xenos in close combat. So unless you're actually fighting Xenos and hitting them with the hitty stick in close combat, then you're not. Then there's parts of that book that don't unlock. If you're building a Deathwatch force and you're mainly fighting other Space Marines or Chaos or whatever it might be, then there's it's such a good book. It's such I love the fact that there's a tool for almost everything in the Deathwatch book. Now, because it's that complex and that many layers, it is a brain squeeze. And they overcomplicated it by putting that thing in where they can do something in one turn and something in the next turn and something in the next turn. That Octarius bullshit that they brought out. they overcomplicated it. There is a way to simplify down the Deathwatch as well and make it a lot more straightforward. But yeah, because it's such a deep pool, the way if you play Deathwatch or are interested in playing Deathwatch, then find a playstyle or a list that you want and just aim religiously at that, and you'll be able to build a playstyle and a list religiously around it. Do you know what I mean? No, Cillian, he's not Nathaniel Garrow. Sol Garrow is not Nathaniel Garrow. He was sent from the Sol system by Garrow. That is in the Face of the Sea story time. And so when the human heard him say, you were sent from the Sol system by Garrow, the human was caught, like amazed, seeing this angel, this god saying, and he went, Sol, Garrow, and that stuck. And he kept that name when he was brought back from the last spear, brought back to the fleet. And when Matthias asked him, what's your name? He said, I'm not telling you, which is a brave thing to say to a venerable dreadnought when you're locked in a hangar bay with him. I just want Space Marines with special issue ammunition. Yes, they were called Sternguard, and they took that away. And they gave them to the... Winter, bring Titans, please. We want rapport with them. I'm sure everyone will be happy. Everyone's happy when I bring the Titans, except the people that I bring Titans against. So, Titans unbalance the game. The 40k isn't really designed for that level. If you bring a Titan, or, I mean, you can bring a super heavy like a Shadow Sword or a Baneblade or a Knight, but you'll know what it's like when you go up against, if you bring your normal army or you go up against a pure Knight list, it kinds of unbalances a little bit. And if you haven't got something that can take apart that higher toughness, it can be really sucky playing against an all Knight list sometimes. Then when someone brings along a Titan, or someone brings along a Yavara, or someone brings along a really big expensive Forge World model, it really unbalances the game. So you should only really introduce Titans to a fun game if your opponent is also bringing Titans or bringing something equally massive. Then you'll have fun, because then you have the decision of, do I shoot at the equally massive thing, or do I annihilate loads of his troops? And then he's got the also choice of, well, he's annihilating my troops, so I'm going to annihilate his. And I've played massive games where both of the big things barely shoot each other, just massacre everything else on the ground, which is great. Or they shoot each other and kill each other very, very quickly. So I'd love to bring Titans. I need someone with really big Titans. I haven't got anything planned about the Titans anytime soon. There's the monkey, we've got that. Chewy, say hi, balls. I did a video when I went to Say Hi Paul. And so if you check out Say Hi Paul's YouTube channel, I think it's the most popular what he did. I don't mean that to brag. I mean that to show. So if you go to YouTube, click on Say Hi Paul and click on the videos, you know, like when you go to see someone, you click on the videos, then go to, and instead of newest, click to most popular, and I'll definitely be up there. And I ran both of my Titans against loads of demon engines. So watch that one. That one's really cool. And I'm going back to Say Hi Paul on the 13th of August. So if he tells me to bring Titans with me, I'll bring Titans with me. And that will probably go up, and that will go up. And when I go and see Say Hi Paul, that will go on his YouTube channel. So, but it's only the 13th of August. We could do Titans then. November, Juliet Foxtrot, NJF. Just got a DZ TV subscription last week. Your Dungeon Crawler and D&D Star campaign and the custom rules just opened my eyes to a whole new world of opportunity. Thank you for all you do. November, Juliet Foxtrot. You're obviously referring to Saga of the Red Frost 1 and 2. Highly recommended. Go check it out. In deploymentzone.tv. Titans versus Knights, a decent matchup. Titans versus Knights can be a decent matchup, yes. And Oliver Samstag has a Phantom Lord. You mean a Phantom Titan? A Phantom? Is it called a Phantom Lord Titan? Phantom, that's the really big one. Revenant is the, yeah, Phantom is the really big one. Phantoms are hard to kill. They are, yeah, Phantoms and Warlords. I mean, a Warlord Titan. Again, when you say imbalances the game, like, If I put 3 Reaver Titans down against a Warlord Titan, that Warlord Titan will kill 3 Reaver Titans. It's a Warlord Titan. You need like... I mean, look at the Black Library law. This is the good thing about Forge World. They actually balance these things quite well in comparison to the lore. So in the lore, it takes down a whole hunting pack of Reaver Titans to take out one Warlord. And if you've got Warhounds taking on Reavers or Warlords, then you need multiple packs. There might be 10 or 20 of them trying to scurry around and try to... They stand no chance. And it's the same on the tabletop. If someone's got a Warlord Titan, you need at least 5 Reavers to bring it down. Or that Warlord will chew through every single one of them. And it should. It's a Warlord Titan. And they are freaking awesome. Right. So I think we covered everything. I've started a new campaign. The Bell Tolls. Space Wars versus Death Guard. And that will be finished on the 14th of August, and that'll be exclusive for channel members, I think. I might put it in the DZ as well. Don't know. We're in a transition period here. If you'd like, so there's that done. Next week, because it's so hot, I'm looking at my calendar up there. She books gaps in here or there to stop me burning myself out, because I will just keep going and going and going and going. And next week, in July and August, there's big gaps, deliberately, because it's summer, and otherwise we don't leave the house. My feet hasn't touched grass. No, I went for a walk. We actually went for a walk yesterday. We went for a walk. I did like 5 kilometers around the village. Had an ice cream. That's what kept me. She said, "Do you want an ice cream?" I went, "Yes." She said, "We need to go to the shops to get one." I'm like, damn. So I went out and had my ice cream, my cornetto. And then she kept talking. So I had to, she bought me an ice cream. But yeah, there's gaps in July and August because of weather and going places. But I've got 4 more planned for this month. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 next month. And also what's happening for, Ride On Boy, member for 7 months. Thank you for being a 7-month member. Appreciate you. Idea for a fun game, 1k each, characters only. 1k of characters only. That's not a fun game. That sounds like it suck. Adwag, Winters, why would you put extra content on YouTube and not make it available to DZTV members who have supported you since the beginning? I have to protest this. Sorry, but I do not like that idea. Yeah, I know. Why would I do that? The reason why I'm thinking about doing it is, as I said in the last... Craig the Celt, welcome to the 13th, tier 3, thank you. The reason why I'm thinking about doing it is because I said years ago, when I started the thing, it was about the only way you could monetize the content and therefore get me out of the factory was with Deployment Zone. Now there's lots of different ways to monetize the content. There's lots of different avenues to monetize the content. And YouTube memberships is now one of the ways to do that. And the Deployment Zone have many campaigns and many events and many other things. And I'm trying to encourage people to become YouTube members. I'm trying to find other ways to monetize my content so I can stay out of the factory. And I don't know the right way of doing it. And there is definitely right ways and there's definitely wrong ways and there's definitely 100 different ways in between. So Adwag, I might put it only on for channel members, but I might not. I don't know. I'm sort of figuring this out as I go along. And the thing is, no matter what I decide to do, someone will protest. If I say, okay, I'll put it only in DZ, then members, why become a member? If I put it across both, then people who are watching things for free on YouTube, they complain. And some people who watch it in the YouTube sphere are like, I don't want to subscribe to deploymentzone.tv because that's a separate website and I just want to click the join button on, I don't trust it, or I don't want to do that, or I don't know why. So there's lots of ways I can do this. So ultimately I'm trying to find the best way to go about doing this for a living. And everyone's got an idea. I've had so many conversations with people, including Liam. I had a conversation with him when I was out in Canada about what to do and where to do it and how to do it. And he said, go for it. I support you 100%. If you need any help, let me know. Liam Dempsey YouTube channel. Go and check it out. Awesome stuff. The second best live streams on the internet. And he does this talking head thing much, much better than me. Typical Titans are the best. So I don't know what the right way is, or whether there is a right way or a wrong way. All I know is there's a way, and I have to go with, I don't know. So, Dagda, I'm the opposite. I like the Winter's content and not so much DZTV, mainly because it's roughly the same age as me. Benjamin Gum, I mean, it's not like you are paywalling your YouTube content. I did paywall. Well, the Silver Cage is now available to YouTube members behind a paywall. So the Silver Cage campaign was previously only exclusive to DZTV supporters, but now you can get it if you become a Tier 3 member. Adwag, I just don't want to have to pay for DZTV and be an Astartes and pay for YouTube membership exit. Yeah, I know it becomes, I know. So one or the other is a way to go. Just DZTV and then everything free here. That is the way I've done it for the last 4 years. So DZTV is the thing and then YouTube is the thing. But there are YouTube supporters asking for content, and there's, So I don't want to, and I don't want to put DZTV supporters in that position. I'll probably see, you're twisting my arm already. I'm like, I'll put it across both platforms. I'll probably put it across both platforms. I don't know. Ask Sargon of a card for a game, Fennock, because he's in Swindon. I don't know if he actually plays with miniatures. He also does, I know he's interested in 40k, but I don't know if he plays. I am aware of Sargon of Akkad's. And I am aware that he is in Swindon. He does politics, and I don't do politics. So I'm not getting political at all. I don't want to talk about politics. I don't want to talk about religion. I don't want to talk about any of that stuff. Indeed, in the DZTV Discord, there is a no politics, no religion clause. And in the Winters SEO Discord, there is no politics, no religion clause. This is 40k. This is about escapism. This is about none of that. This is about our hobby. This is, we don't want any of the real world stuff coming in here. And of course, as soon as I have someone who is notorious, such as him, either whether they're right, left, up, down, tall, short, yellow, blue, purple, whatever the fuck. As soon as you have someone on that, then the internet explodes. So, and I learnt my lesson from someone that I interacted with once in the past, which some of you might have seen, like, just talk to them then. Yes, Inquisitive X, I did that with someone who will remain nameless, who someone will put in the comments. And I got my ass burned. And I talked to the person because I, at the time, liked some of their lore content. And yeah, YouTube came at me hard, and DMs came at me hard, and I've talked about death threats before. Well, so I thought, yeah, okay, you can't separate the game from the real world when it comes to some personalities. So I've decided not to do that anymore. I've decided the best way to separate the real world from the game is just never get involved with the real world. I want you to come here and log on to my channel and just be entertained. Are you not entertained? This is escapism. This is Lord of the Rings, where you can fully escape from the real world. This is the Star Wars, where you can fully escape from the real world. This is Star Trek, where you can fully escape from the real world. And that was irony, in case there's any Americans out there. You know what I mean. Welcome to the 13th Tier 3, Alan Godfrey. Thank you so much. Love you. Thank you for coming. What are we looking at? Zach Cook, honestly, I'm a strong believer in keeping politics out of the hobby. Exactly. I'm a strong believer in keeping politics and religion and any deep stuff out of anything that you do for escapism, right? So if you race carts, then, you know, yeah, this is escapism. This is where we go to get away from the real world. We want to paint. We want to talk about the religion of the 41st millennium, and we want to roll dice and have fun and things like that. So, I love your videos, buddy. I honestly think cards thinks the things. West Side is the best. What are we? But Swindon is only 40 minutes away from Bristol for me. Well, if you're in Bristol, the Scubex, then there's a really good scene in Bristol, by the way. If you haven't been to Bristol Independent Gaming, big, you need to go there. Bristol have a good competitive scene, and they also have a good casual narrative scene as well. And if you join the deployment zone, then there's a bunch of people there who will help you and love you and play with you. Right, so I think I've... yes, I think I've said everything. That's the catch-up. That's the Monday catch-up. At some point, when are you going to start playing some Heresy games? Well, Sam, I haven't got a Heresy army together yet. That's a good question. Except for my 30k Mechanicum Tagmata next door. And I can't play my Mechanicum Tagmata yet because that book isn't out. And apart from that, I haven't got together a 30k army yet. I have got about 2,500 points worth of Sons of Horus away at Den of Imagination, and there'll be videos and reveal of that when that comes back. And I am waiting for Mark II and Mark IV armor, or Mark III and Mark IV armor, to come out from Games Workshop. And I know it came out, but they sold out of them straight away. This is the frustrating thing about Games Workshop, okay? I want to buy these models. And if I could get these models, I'd paint these models. But I can't paint these models because I can't buy the models. I want to have an Isfan 3 Emperor's Children Force, an Isfan 3 Death Guard Force, and an Isfan 3 World Eaters Force. Loyalists. I want them loyalists and Sons of Horus away. And I can't do that because the models aren't available. The Mark 6 is later Heresy. Mark 6 didn't come around. Mark 6 was in a prototype suit at the start outbreak of the Heresy, mainly employed by the White Scars, the Night Lords, and the Raven Guard at the time. And then the first big release of Mark 6 kits was to the Raven Guard after the Isfan 3 drop site massacre when he went back to Terra and spoke to Daddy. So I can't do it because the models aren't available, and they dropped the if the models were available now, I'd spend thousands of pounds now. Sam has gifted 50 memberships, and Nathan, thank you for being a member for 11 months. 50 memberships. Sam. So when the models do become available, because Sam just gifted 70 memberships in one evening, I'll be able to afford lots of... I've written a list for the Emperor's Children. I know what I want to bring. It's got a Storm Eagle. It's got the Spartan in it with the Emperor's Children Terminators in it, 2 support squads, and then the big squad and the thing. And I've even got some Rapier batteries. I've written the Death Guard list that I want to bring, and they're all breachers with Volkites, and then a couple of Leviathan Dreadnoughts and a couple of mortars shooting over the top. I know what I want to bring for that. And if I could spend £1,000 and buy all of those miniatures tomorrow, I'd spend £1,000 and buy all of those miniatures and model B tomorrow, because as I showed you in my Speed Baiting Necrons video, I can, with Alex SEO's help, really smash out and speed paint a chunk of stuff and get it up on the channel really soon. And I want to play it. I'm looking forward to playing it, but I can't play Heresy right now. Not because I don't have the army painted, or the armies painted, because I will get all 4 legions from Isfahan 3. I can't play Heresy right now because Games Workshop won't sell me what I want to buy. Where? How? What other company does this? What other company? Of course, other companies tease stuff out like, oh, there's a video coming out soon and here's the teaser. There's a game coming out soon and here's the teaser. But if I played golf, there might be a week before, heads up before this special golf club comes out. But if I could buy the golf clubs and the balls if I wanted, and dress up like a twat. If I wanted to, whatever hobby. Karting, scuba diving, tombstoning, I don't know, think of a hobby, name a hobby, riding little bunnies around, no, getting gnomes, little baby gnomes, and sellotaping them to the back of bunny rabbits and betting on them as they're running around, and you have the gnome holding out a carrot from the thing on his fishing rod like that. The gnome holds out a carrot and the bunny rabbits, and which bunny rabbit reach. You know, I would buy the bunny rabbits, I'd buy the gnomes, I'd buy the carrots, but which hobby out there does all these reveals and reveals and reveals and reveals months in advance and then sells out on them straight away and you can't buy them? It's so frustrating. I'm so thirsty for Heresy. I can't get any of the armor I want. I can't get half of the vehicles I want. They don't show the shoulder pads and the things right now. If it was available right now, I'd buy it. And I know, and I said it before, that there's a bean counter up there in the silver tower of Games Workshop saying, well, what we need to do is we need to release them here and then release a bit there and tease a bit here and tease a bit there. And that means that our release schedule is on track. And that also means that we don't get artificial spikes and artificial... How do they know they're going to get artificial spikes and artificial lows when their sales data is based on their crappy sales way of selling things? When it's based on this tease. Look, they released the Predators. Did you see the picture on Warhammer Community recently of the new Predators? If I could have bought them then, I'd have bought 3. I'd have bought a squadron of Predators then and there. And what's going to happen is they will release a teaser of the new Vindicators or the new, because if Demos pattern Rhinos are out and Demos pattern Predators are out, then we can be guaranteed that Demos pattern Vindicators are out as well. I don't know, no one's told me, but we can be guaranteed that they're coming. And by the time the Demos pattern Vindicators come out, the Predators might actually be released, and by that time I might be thirsty for the Vindicators, so I don't buy the Predators. But if these models were available right now, I would have 4 Leviathans, 3 Predators, I would buy all the armor packs with all the upgrade screws and bam, and then when they release out more, I would be very, very poor. And I'm sure many of you out there would be very poor too. And I firmly believe that at least for some of us, this sales policy that Games Workshop has is ridiculous. It's stopping them getting sales, and it's also the figures that they have, and their sales policy is based on a model, an artificial model that they created because of the way they release and sell and do the stuff that they do. It's not natural. It's not a natural sales model. It's a model that they've imposed upon us. So tease the thing, release the thing the next day. I went to the Horus Heresy. Perfect example. I couldn't believe this. I'll rant about it now. Let's rant. Well done, Sam. Great. Yes. Did Winters notice the gifts? I did. Sam, you are a legend. Thank you. I think G-Dub is too invested in FOMO. They're not invested enough. They are not invested enough. It's one factory in the Midlands that can't keep up with the demand. I don't think that's complicated. Jack Briggs, say you're right. Okay? Say you're 100% right. It's one factory in the middle that can't keep up with demand. Then that's a production problem. Then that's a manufacturing problem. If they can't keep up with demand, then they need to invest heavily in being able to keep up with demand. I know they spent a lot of money during the lockdown on building a new... They talked about this in their news releases as well. They've released a new warehouse next to Manchester Airport or some shit. There's a new airport Now, there's an airport up there, and they bought a warehouse. So the idea is they make lots and lots of stuff for releases. They pack it in the warehouse, ready to go. So they've got the stock ready for the release, and then when the release comes out, ship the stock, right? Jack, yes? Okay, so that's what they've chosen to do. If that doesn't keep up with demand and your customers, supply and demand, here's the supply, here's the demand. If your supply is that high and your demand is this high all the time, that is lost sales. Supply and, I mean, I did economics A level. I failed it. I quit halfway through. I didn't do, that isn't one of the A levels I got. I dropped out of college the first time, okay? Let's not go back there, dark days. But I did some economics. I got an economics GCSE, and I know the rules of supply and demand. Everyone knows about supply and demand. You always want a little bit of demand with your supply, okay? And that drives sales. But when you've got a really... They've got, if it's a supply issue, they need to sort out the supply issue. Okay, Jack? Can we agree on that? They need to support the supply issue. They don't need to control supply better. They don't need to rein the community back in better. They don't need to do any of that. They need to make sure that their supply matches the demand that they have. And there's a lot of people out there in the hobby, and it might only be 1% of your hobby base, but there's a lot of, or it might be 5% of your hobby base, but there's a lot of people out there. Let's say it's 1%. Let's say here are the number of people in the hobby. Let's say 1% of them have a crap ton of money or no self-control and will spend 5 times as much money on the hobby as they previously do. Just 1%. 1% of your market. 1%. That 1% will spend 5 times as much as they would right now if they could get the models a day after release right now. Then sell it to them. You're selling 5 times as much product to that 1% of people. And I suspect that it's more than 1% of people. I suspect that it might be 2, 3, 4. It might be 20% of people. But there is a certain percentage of people out there in the entire hobby who would sell. I would be very poor. There's a number of people out there who would be very poor. Who would be very poor? Who would? Come on now. How do you make a poll? No, end poll. Don't vote in that one. End poll. End poll. It's this one, right? How do you make a poll? No, add reaction. Poll. Who? Come on now. Write it. Who would be very poor? Question mark. Would you be very poor? Because it's yes, no. Of course it's yes, no. Would you be very poor? Or would you be poorer or whatever? You know what I mean? Ask community. Like, I would be a lot poorer if I had now. Here's the thing. So vote on that, please. Here's a story for you. I went to the Horus Heresy reveal weekend at Games Workshop at the time, along with a bunch of other people in the community. And there was Miniac there. He was kicked out at lunchtime. Tabletop Titans were there. Lawrence was there. Vanguard Taxis were there. Hellstorm Wargaming was there. Dana from Darcy Promotions was there. Guerrilla Miniatures was there. Play On, Tabletop were there, and I was there. There were a lot of people there. So you go to this Horus Heresy event, which they sold tickets for, and you turned up, and they did the reveals and they did stuff, and you couldn't buy any merch. WTF. There were queues of people. Say at the Horus Heresy reveal, they just had the box set, which then the Horus Heresy event showcased the box that then came out a week or two later. Why didn't they have 1,000 boxes piled up at the table? And because you came to the event, you could buy it at 1% off or 10% off. Sam Nash, thank you for being a member. I've bought so much Horus Heresy stuff. The vast majority is on back order as it's constantly out of stock. Exactly. They should have had boxes of crap there that you could buy at the event and then release it the next day. And I know 10-20% of them would turn up on scalpers, and I know that's what scalpers do. But one of the ways that you could rein in the scalpers is you can say at these events, you let everyone know, if you get to this event you can buy the box, and the next day it will be available for the general population. then if everyone sees that, then most people can wait 24 hours. So Herm, welcome to becoming a tier 1 member of the 13th. Love you. What I'm saying is it's a supply and demand issue. Clearly the supply of some stuff clearly the demand for some stuff is vastly greater than the supply. So what they need to do is support out their supply chain issues. Now, there's a couple of ways they could do that. One is build up stock. Obviously, if you build up stock, then you have a danger of excess stock. And excess stock is dead money. If you have a business and there is £1 billion in stock, then that's £1 billion of dead money. You want to get your stock level down to the lowest amount possible. That's why we hear about just-in-time deliveries and things like that. If you order something, you get it straight away. The least amount of time. When you have stock, you have to pay for that stock. You have to ship that. Sam, stop it. Maybe that's not the reaction you were hoping for, but that is what immediately came out. So brain just broke down on the fact that you just did it again. Wow. Sam, what I should have said was I'm not very good at this live streaming thing, am I? What I should have said was, Sam, you legend. Thank you so much for gifting another 50 members. You're a nutter. Who, Marius Gage, you're a nutter. Yeah, that's a few models when they finally... No rum has been consumed today. Buy more HH stuff. And a £2 donation as well. That's just like the cherry on the cake, Sam, isn't it? Here's a cherry on the cake. I mean, goddamn. Wow. Yeah. So, it's a supply issue. If they need to buy more machines to sort out the supply issue, they will. Yiston Jones. Sam, keep bringing winters out of the factory. Thank you, Yiston. Thank you. And let's have a look at the poll. Let's have a look at the poll. How do I open the poll up? Would you be very poor? Yes, 70%. So there you go. 2/3 of people would be very poor if Games Workshop sorted out their supply issues. So I would buy 3 Predators and I would buy all these things. I find myself in the very lucky position as well that I could buy a chunk of this stuff and send some of it. I don't know how much I'd be able to get away with sending to Den of Imagination, but I'd certainly try. And then I could end up with a couple of good Horus Heresy Arbies very soon. Because they're like, oh, here's some really cool boxes, you guys. Because I wouldn't, and that's the time thing, right? Yeah. I think I don't know what to say. So on that bombshell, some say he did the Nürburgring on a go-kart powered by ketchup. And some say, so yeah. So thank you for... Have you just gifted 50 more? Stop it. Just thank you, but stop. Stop. Okay? It's like Iron Man after the snap And Pepper is there with him. And she says, "You can go now. You've done it. You can go. You've. Thank you." Also, I thought the £2 was the cherry on the cake. So, subscription for you, subscription for you. So everyone gets a subscription. Tom Cruise on Oprah Winfrey. Yeah, I'm amazed that there are any grey shields left. Everyone is going to be... Stuart Fields, I don't understand the membership thing. Well, if you become a member of my YouTube channel, you'll get access to more videos, including the Silver Cage campaign. Well, only the Silver Cage campaign. And to the Discord, the Winters SEO Discord. Another way to support me is by joining us and mine and Liam's community in the deployment zone. Ginger Steve, who's a member for 7 months. Sam Nash is a living legend. Well done to the man. He is. Stuart Field says, "Sorry, I'm old." Well, so am I. I'm still getting my head around the whole thing. And I feel like I need to end the stream because I've been going for some time. And I feel like if I don't end the stream, Sam is probably going to give some more viewers. And my brain is literally locked up in surprise by what's happening here. So thank you for joining. Well done to Sam. I think I'm seeing you soon. And thanks for popping in and joining me on this very hot evening. Look after yourselves and each other. Stay safe, stay cool, stay hydrated, stay frosty. You guys are legends. But Sam clearly is the legend of legends. And happy wargaming. Don't click the thing, click the thing.